everybody, and welcome to this very channel. I am super excited to be back. Thank you for stopping by. On this channel, we teach computer programming. We teach computer coding. Our intention is to create amazing applications for web, amazing applications for your mobile phones, amazing applications. Our intention here, my intention here is to apply everything you learn and use those knowledge you've learned and apply them into creating world-class application. This is awesome. And you know what? I don't want to leave anyone behind. And so let's strike a deal here on this very video. So the moment we clock 1,000 subscribers, then I am going to be unveiling our first amazing application on this channel. We will begin to work on the first amazing application here. And guess what? If we clock this 1,000 subscribers by the end of this week, my next video, the coming week, will be unveiling that amazing application. It is awesome to learn the theory and also apply what you learn into real world projects, using what you have learned and applying it into real world projects. This is amazing. On this video, we are going to be covering HTML elements. We're going to look more at HTML elements. We will go to HTML attributes. We are going to look at HTML paragraphs, HTML styles, and HTML formatting. So let's go right and let's begin work. So as I said, we had looked at HTML elements. On the text editor here, we have a couple of HTML elements. So here we have the H1 element to H6 element. Now, by the way, what is an HTML element? Just to recall what we said before, that the HTML element is everything from the start tag to the end tag. That's what the HTML element is. Everything from the start tag to the end tag. So it means that we have the tag name, we have the content, and we also have the end tag name. And so we're going to be looking on this video at nested HTML elements. How do we nest HTML elements? So it is important to know that HTML elements can be nested. This means that the element can contain other elements. That's exactly what it means. Right on this text editor, you look closely, you're going to find that we have an HTML element, the body element here, and we have another HTML element, the H1, H2, 3 down to 6. These are other elements contained in the body elements. We also have the paragraph elements here. So these are nested HTML elements. Now, when you write HTML elements, always remember never to skip the end tag. That's very important. The next HTML element we are going to be looking at here is the empty HTML element. Now, we know that HTML elements have content, right? The start tag, the content, and the end tag. But there are some of these elements that have no content. These elements are called empty elements. One of such is the BR tag. So what we are going to do now is we will take a look at the browser. We want to have a view of this current page on the browser. And so we are going to go to click on the Go Live button. And right there, you can see it at the bottom right of the screen, the Go Live button. We're going to click on that. And the browser will come up, will serve up this page. And so we want to take a look at the paragraph tag. Look at the length. We're going to increase the length of the paragraph tag so that we can play with the BR tag. Let's just duplicate this. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I just duplicate it. Good. And let's do one more time. So we have a long one. Let's check the browser to see what this look like. Okay, so on this page, let's go over to the page here. That's this one here. We can see that that's one paragraph there. Now we're going to use the BR tag, which is the empty element, to break. This tag defines a line break. The BR tag defines a line break. Let's quickly apply that on our text editor. So I'm gonna apply the BR tag somewhere here, and so I'm just gonna say BR, and this is gonna be all in lowercase. So just to let you know that HTML element or HTML is not case sensitive. HTML tags are not case sensitive. So a capital BR is the same thing as the small br. But the HTML standard does require does not require lower case tags, but I would recommend that we just go with the lower cases. Let's now see what this page look like with the BR tag there on the web browser. And so you would notice that it has broken the paragraph, and now it's moved to the next line. Right from here, it's moved to the next line. Now I'm going to create a second BR tag so we can have more space between this paragraph here and this other paragraph here. So the BR does what? It gives a line break. It defines a line break. So I'm adding the second one here. And when we go to the browser, we find that this has increased the space, right? It's inserted another line behind the first paragraph. Okay, this is actually one paragraph, and what we have just seen at this point is the empty element, the BR tag. So next here we want to look at HTML attributes. What are attributes? HTML attributes provide more information about the HTML elements. Now there are things I'd like you to know about HTML attributes. All elements can have attributes. All elements can have attributes, and then attributes provide additional information about the element. Next thing is that attributes are always specified in the start tag of that element, and attributes usually come in a name and value pair. Name value pair. So one of such attributes we shall look at is the href attribute. On the text editor on line 32, we see that we have the href attribute there in that anchor tag. Now, the href attribute, what does that do? It defines the hyperlink. So the href attribute will be specified with the URL. So here we find the URL, and this URL leads to this link. This is an anchor element, and so when our users click on this word, which they will see on the browser, it's going to take them straight to this very website. So this is the href attribute specified in the start tag, of the anchor element. That is where we usually specify href attributes. Next is the source attribute, and this is also on the next line here. We see the source attribute. So what does the source attribute do? It specifies the URL of an image, the image that we are going to attach or add to our browser. So here you see we have an image logo, and that's the logo you see on the web browser. And so on the web browser we have this very image there, that logo you see right there, this particular one. Okay, so we added this logo using the image, the SR attribute, and so it points exactly to the URL for the image. And then we have the alt attribute. The alt attribute has the value of logo. The alt attribute tells it's like an alternative text basically. So sometimes the image will not be properly displayed. Maybe there is poor network or something has happened somewhere, the image will not display. So this alt attribute, this text, alternative text, will be displayed, telling us what kind of image is supposed to be there. And also the alt attribute is useful for screen readers. The very next attribute we are going to be looking at is the style attribute. So the style attribute is used to add styles to an element. This one we do not have on the text editor. So let's quickly practice this. To the h1 element, we're going to put the style attribute there right in the start tag of the h1. And what style do we intend to? Let's give it a color and let's specify a red color. This is going to make the h1 red. And we can also try out style here, and let's give this also a color, and we can specify that it should be green color. So going to the browser, let us see what this looks like. Here we have h1 is red and the h2 is green. So that is the style attribute. More of this to come as we go on in the series of lectures that we have. So we are going to be covering more on the style attribute, on the HTML style attribute. Let us go over to see the lang attribute. The lang attribute is actually located right at the HTML of this page. So right there we see the lang attribute. And what's this lang attribute? It is the language attribute. You should always include this language attribute at the start tag. It's inside the HTML elements. This one on line 2 right there. And so this specifies or declares the language of the web page. This is meant to assist search engines and also browsers. And we will notice the value of the language attribute. In this case, it is English. 2 character defines the country, the language basically. So EN, if it's French, it's going to be FR. We can also specify the country code as well. So we can say English US. So if I put a hyphen here and I say US, so that is English United States. The English language, it specifies English as the language and United States as the country. And the next attribute we are going to be looking at is called title attribute. Now this attribute defines some information, some more information about an element. Now, so the value of this attribute will be displayed as a tooltip when we take our mouse and hover on that element. Let's take a look at it. So we are going to look at this paragraph element here. I'm going to put the title attribute. It's an attribute here. And we're going to say, I am a Latin text filler for web developers. So here we got that this is a Latin text filler. When we place our cursor on this very paragraph, then we are going to see the value. That value of the title attribute will show up. Let's check the web browser, and then we're going to take our cursor and place over, and you can see right there it says I am a Latin text filler for web browsers. So that is the title attribute. Now it is suggested, please, that you always quote your attributes, the value of your attributes. Always quote them. You can use double quotes, you can use single quotes, but I think it's a good practice to use double quotes. So when you start it with a double quote, please also end it with a double quote, just as you see right there that we have the style attribute. And let's get it there to the bottom. Okay, yeah, right there. So we have the style attribute and its value, the color, that's the property, and then the color we gave is red there. It's all in the quotation mark, so you want to put it there. That's a good practice. The title attribute, which says title equals to I am a Latin text filler for web developers, it is all in quotation mark. So as I said, single or double quotes will work, but there's one thing we need to know about the quotation. If you're using a single quote at the beginning, please use that same quote at the end. However, if you intend to maybe include, to allow a quotation mark to show up. For example, let's say we have John is a developer. So we want this quotation mark to also show. You would notice here is a single quotation mark, and it's also here single quotation mark. So it opens here and closes here. The double quotation marks are all here. They match each other. When we go to the web browser, we are going to still see the same thing. Now the quotation mark will show on the browser, as you can see right there. So when we place our cursor, we will notice that the tooltip shows up right there. Let's try to increase this. And so we can see the tooltip. John, the quotation mark is also shown there. John is a developer, and we can see that. So that's how we do it. When we are showing our quotation mark, we ensure that they match each other. That's super important. So far we have been able to learn about HTML attributes, and we have learned that the href attribute is used to specify the URL, as we saw in this case, Facebook. So it's used to specify the URL of a page that will be linked when the users click on the text that they see. The source attribute is used to specify the image that will be displayed. It specifies the path of the image that will be displayed. Now there's one more attribute that I have on the screen that I have not spoken about, which is the width and the height attribute. The width specifies the width, just as it is said. The height also specifies the height of the image, as it is said. So in this case, the width is 100 pixels and the height is 100 pixels, and that is why you see the logo when it is shown, it is as small as that. You're going to note the size of the logo. I will go and change the width and the height value now, and I'm going to change this to 300 pixels, and let's do the same thing to the height, 300 pixels. When we go over to the browser, we'll find, okay, now you can see on the browser that it's already increased. So here it's increased. I did those changes at the back without showing it. Let's just quickly share it with you. And so here we see the width is 100 pixels, the height is also 100 pixels. So this is important. And the other attribute is the alt attribute, which is the alternative text attribute. This is used in the image. It provides that alternative text for an image when the image does not display properly. And also we have the style attribute. This specifies, or it is used rather, to add a style. So you add the style to the element. The language attribute, we looked at it as well. It specifies the language for the web page. And in this case, it is English, and the country is United States. So we can also specify the lang attribute, the value, without the country included. And the last attribute we looked at was the title attribute. This is used to specify tooltip, and the tooltip is actually that extra information about the element. In this case, you saw when we hovered on the paragraph, we saw this information here that I am a Latin text filler. John is a developer for web developers. And so I'm going to stop on this video right here. At the next video, we are going to be looking more at other parts of HTML. We'll be looking at HTML paragraphs. We already saw a paragraph here. There's nothing much about the HTML paragraph. So HTML paragraphs, they usually start on a new line. So when we have this paragraph here, it ends here. And when we start another paragraph, even if the paragraph we start is rightly on this line 29, it's going to be displayed on a fresh line by our browser. Let's quickly apply the HTML paragraphs. Let's create a second paragraph. I'm going to duplicate this particular paragraph. And so I just select everything and I will just duplicate it right here. Let's see. Copy it, and then we're going to just paste it. So HTML paragraphs will always begin on a new line. I'm gonna place this other paragraph, make it to start on the same line as the previous paragraph, and when we go to the browser, we will find that this will be displayed on a new line. So it is displayed, as we can see here, on a new line. Everything here. So everything, this is the paragraph we just included, right? So it goes on a new line. Even though we had placed it from the text editor, we had it on the same line, but it begins on the same line, right? But on the browser, it is displayed on a new line. So I believe that you've been able to learn something very important here. I believe you've been able to learn a lot from this video. If you like the content, please remember to subscribe to the channel, as more awesome content will be coming up. This is just the third video, and we are taking one step at a time. Soon we are going to be unveiling our first amazing project, our first world-class project, and I hope that you are going to be part of us. So please subscribe, click the notification bell, like this video, and if you've got questions, you've got languages you want us to cover, please go to the comment section and drop your comments. I'll be pleased to read your comments and reply each of them. Thank you very much, and cheers to your success. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Goodbye.